How's it going, everybody? Oh man, how do I zoom in? Okay, cool. I'm trying to zoom in on this illustration. It's Friday, 6 p.m. over here in West Coast. I'm gonna try to finish this illustration I did of these two, like I don't know what you call them, like aliens or something like that. They are gonna be. Maybe zoom out a little bit. They're gonna be attacking this soldier. And I'm pretty much gonna go in and try to finish up the background, and then try to throw some kind of stuff on him. Let me grab a tissue. 1 minute, 1 minute. But hopefully you're doing good. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna talk about it here for the next 20, 30 minutes. All right, I'm gonna be trying to go live every day for a while, but I'm gonna try to finish up this piece. And things that stand out about it for me immediately would be that this is not done right here. This design on this shield. And to be honest, also, not to be negative, I think it's also a little bit stiff. But I'm trying to get in the routine of finishing stuff, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's really, really hard for me to finish something I'm not paid for, I noticed. So I really want to get in the habit of just finishing up and putting out more pieces. I got to do a video on that, actually. I got to write it down. Like, have you ever had the habit of just not finishing stuff? In general, you just have all these starts. I don't know if anybody has that, because I totally get that constantly. It's just kind of one of those big things that I think is a very common issue. There's an entire book on it too called Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art. Not the Art of War, but The War of Art. And he goes over the fact that, you know, sometimes you get 70% through a project and you just feel like not finishing it. And he talks about kind of why. I haven't read the book in a while. I'd like to read it again. But the whole thing's free on YouTube, by the way. You can always find it. The audiobook is free on YouTube. But he basically, I think some of the reasons he goes over would be things like if you don't finish something, I don't remember if he went over this or not, don't quote me, but I was going to say, like, a couple of reasons could be that maybe if you finish it, you're not quite as good as you thought. You'd be like, oh, wow, I'm not that good. Where you're always going to keep that mystery if you don't actually finish the piece. You're always going to have that mystery a little bit where it's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't need to, I don't need to finish this. It's kind of just, it's just more or less going to be okay if I don't do that. You're going to preserve your ego, in other words, if you don't actually finish it. It's kind of like when people are afraid to do something, they just decide they just never do it to begin with. It's kind of like that in art, except you never finish. You never really finish what you're doing. So it's kind of like the other way around. This is going to be my streaming channel over here. But if you came over from Easy Things to Draw, let me know. But yeah, I haven't really announced these things. I need to announce them. And then I also got to figure out how I can see the comments, because I still can't see the comment section, at least live as it goes on. So I got to really, more or less put more, I got to find out that information. Right now I'm fixing the website as well. And if you're an artist like me, there's always something going on, right? Like, there's always things to do that are really fun. So, for example, I'm trying to fix the website right now, and I'm trying to make it a place that people would like going to just for the heck of it. Like maybe some extra material there that I can't find anywhere else. It's always just kind of fun. Hey, what's up? How's it going? It's always just kind of fun to kind of put that. I really, really want to make the website like a lot of fun. Try not to block everything. So as far as the background goes, I'm just gonna make it really simple, because this is more of a black and white illustration. It's gonna stay black and white. I'm trying to figure out like what I can do. I'm thinking like mountains or something. So, and I don't know how much I'm going to contrast that. So I'm just going to wing it, right? I'm going to wing it with kind of the knowledge I have on mountains already. Maybe something like this over here. And the mountains will be, you know, more or less really high contrast in order to kind of make things in the front pop. So I'm wondering how far they're going to intersect in the back. Maybe like here as well. But they got to be realistic. You don't want to make everything too sterile, because sometimes there's things, I see this in illustrations a lot. Sometimes things are just always in their place and they're just so carefully placed. And I'm like, no, that looks fake. Something about that looks not like real world. Not that it has to be real world. We're kind of going over exaggerated reality and all of these things. But I don't know. You got to make things a little bit more scattered and different, you know, like nature in general in illustrations tries to be a little bit more varied up instead of so like a perfect example is when people draw trees. People always want to put them in a straight line, right? It's kind of hard to draw them random, which is weird, but the eye doesn't like looking at it for some reason, which is really bizarre. So like we don't like seeing patterns. Seeing patterns looks kind of fake sometimes, but we like drawing them initially. That's like the first thing we do. We just start drawing like very simplistic, organized patterns for whatever reason. I'm going to talk really quick about finishing art and kind of how you should think about that and what you can do. Because despite me not finishing certain things, I've gotten a lot better at it. So at the very beginning, I couldn't finish a single drawing, right? This is like where when I first started learning to draw, I could not finish anything. I'm like, man, what is going on? And then eventually what happened was eventually I started finishing drawings, but I couldn't actually finish anything beyond that, like anything I was uncomfortable drawing. Like I couldn't finish drawing people with clothing for a while. It was just like, it was just a drawing was left undone. I did that all the time. And I would only finish like monsters or animal drawings or something like that. And again, I think the reason I wasn't finishing those things is because of the ego. Again, it was just kind of like, oh, if I finish this, it might look crummy. And my internal brain was like, well, if I'm crummy, then does that reflect on me as a person? Like as an artist, does that mean I'm crummy? Right? So the way to solve that would be like just not to finish it, you know, not to finish this aspiration that I had. So that was kind of like a way out. That's just what I think. I'm not totally sure. This is just the stuff I try to self-analyze a lot because, you know, when I first started drawing, I always kind of saw myself on a timeline, like, okay, 5 years from now, I'm gonna be working here. 2 years from now, I'll be working here. And, you know, things just didn't work out like that. You know, I did work, but it took me 2 years to work, but not in something I wanted to work in. It took me 2 years to work like as a caricature artist at like SeaWorld. And then I worked at a movie studio, I think like 5 years after that. It took me so long. And, you know, I viewed YouTube as another outlet, kind of like, oh, I'm going to try to do this now, like YouTube. And I've been on YouTube for about 7 years. And I think like it was really successful, and it is successful currently, and I'm really excited for that, but I would like it to, you know, hit the next level. And that's the way a lot of people feel with their channels. You know, that they're not growing fast enough, etc. And I kind of felt that way myself a few times. And but you know, that's just the way life is, right? You just gotta put in a lot of work, and then you gradually grow something, whether it be a following, whether it be your skill, and you will make it there. Usually, you won't even really know you made it. So, so somebody asked me is, when did I really hit this kind of point in my drawing ability that I was really kind of content with or happy with, or where I was like, oh, you know what? I think I could say I kind of made it-ish. For the most part, we never like made it per se. By the way, RIP to Neil Adams, the famous comic book artist. Just an amazing, amazing comic book artist. Obviously one of the OGs. He passed away today, RIP. You know, that's incredibly horrible. But yeah, so go, you know, I just wanted to, I saw that on my feed. I was like pretty depressed about that. It's huge stuff on the stuff he did on Batman. Anyways, back to, sorry, forgive me. I'm kind of bouncing around here a lot mentally. I was gonna say, let's see, what can I do back here? Maybe put the bottom here. I was gonna say, there was a point when I was, I think I was 2 or 3 years into my drawing practice. So 2 years in, I was working at SeaWorld, but I was still taking classes, I remember. And about 3 years into my classes where I was trying to get better, I had like a nervous breakdown. I've talked about this. I completely got just messed up mentally from the drawing. I'm trying to learn it, that I kind of broke down and just kind of like lost it, and I quit drawing for, I would say, about a year or so, maybe a couple years. Completely quit. I remember coming back casually to it. I'm like, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do drawing. And somebody's outside. Who's outside? By the way, I live in California, if anybody knows. By LA. But when I had that breakdown, I came back casually back to like drawing classes. I was better for some reason. And even the same teacher was like, whoa, what have you been doing? Like, you got better. That's interesting. And I think what it was just that when I left, I stopped putting a lot of, I hadn't put pressure on myself mentally to get better. And because of that, I was kind of getting out of my own way, and I was just getting better on my own. And that's more or less kind of where it stayed at for that period of time, where he was like, whoa, like, you're a lot better. You just chilled out. So I guess the quote unquote moral of that is you have to continue to, you know, practice, right? Like daily if you can. Learn, you know, watch other people drawing stuff. For example, I like drawing, I like watching a lot of, I can't remember, a lot of like D&D artists, you know, artists from Wizards of the Coast. A lot of their videos, a lot of their how-tos, or a lot of just their demos. I love watching them, but I, just by watching them, it kind of gives this level of osmosis where you're like, oh, wow, that guy can do that. That means I can do that, you know, because they're human. That stuff has always been pretty valuable, you know, and understanding that kind of like, and whatever someone else can do, you can absolutely do. You just can put the time into it. I would say for me, when I get the most frustrated, like frustrated with myself, is when I don't put aside time to practice something, you know, properly. When I don't put aside time to practice, and I'll see somebody's work that I'm like, oh man, I could be there by now, but I'm not. It's always because I didn't put the time into it, you know. I was like, man, I should have been drawing a little bit daily. I didn't do that, or should have been doing this, or I think I can do that, but you know, you gotta put aside that time to practice. Otherwise, you're never really gonna, you know, you're never gonna get what you want. So you kind of have to do that. So right there. I think I'm gonna go on for 20 minutes this one, and then I'm gonna try to do it every day around 6. We'll see if that changes. 6 p.m. Western time, Western Coast. We'll see if that changes. I might change it. I'm not sure if I will. I probably will, so we'll see. But I'm going to try to announce these. I haven't really announced them in a while, or at all. I'm sorry, this in a while. This is my second one ever, so I haven't really announced these, so yeah. Again, I still haven't figured out how to see the questions in the question area at the same time. What else? As far as what I'm working on, personally, I think I talked about this in the other one of the live stream a little bit. Two things: trying to get better at finishing illustrations, like I just said in this one, and 2, I'm trying to get better at color. My color is kind of wonky, and I was trying to get better at my brush pen, like this, because I was using nothing but microns where you can push down as hard as you want and nothing happens. I've been trying to get better at just this brush pen, and I think I'm doing really good with the brush pen, to be honest, so I'm pretty happy with it. Sorry if my voice sounds kind of gravelly. I'm getting over like a cold, so yeah, that's just what happens. That's just what occurs, and yeah. I had a cold for about a week, and I still did videos on easy things to draw and easy pictures. I have a few channels on here, by the way, for different purposes. I'll tell you about them. One, I have a kids drawing channel, and that's easy pictures to draw, and that's by far the biggest channel as far as the amount of people that watch it per day. Then I have easy things to draw. That was my initial channel, and I kind of left it alone for a couple of years because the other one was taking up so much time. But lately I've started posting again daily, so go check that out. And then, one second. And then this one. Well, then I have a Halloween one that I'm trying to keep alive through the year. I do post on it once a day as well, but those are like quicker lessons. And I'm just trying to. The other ones, it's mostly just spooky stuff through the year. And then I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do live streams and just shorts on this one. So I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I love it. Really enjoyable. It's incredibly exciting to do that. And then I also teach on Skillshare, and I also teach on Udemy. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on just all over the place. All right, let me see this. What can I do on this guy? So a lot of when you're looking at like illustrations, I mean, usually you do this with painting, but the same thing goes for drawing, especially with an ink like this. You're trying to push stuff back and pull stuff forward with the contrast, you know? Like usually when your eye is focused on something, it's like the focal point is usually where the lightest light touches the darkest dark, but everything's light and dark right here, right? Black and white. Like really strong black, really strong white. So obviously the focus is within here, but within here we're looking at small shapes. So for example, his mouth back there is not filled in entirely. I would fill in this, see where the tongue is over here? I would fill this in over here on this side because that's in the back, but I also want it to fall back a little bit. And we're going to the front here, and I'm looking for everything at once because this is kind of one of those, like, you know, in the final stages-ish of the drawing itself for the most part, at least within these figures in the front. I'm putting in tiny little tick marks over here for the organic folds on his face. That's incredibly important, obviously. And then there's large areas where it relaxes, right? So there's a lot of tension, meaning there's a lot of different lines in all this stuff going on here, see on the front of his face, but then it relaxes at the top of his head here. You know, there's like simplicity over here, next to complexity, and for whatever reason, that balance, I'll talk more about that, I guess, in a video. I'll try and make a video on that if you want. When you do that, it just makes things look nicer. So it's not like complex everywhere. If it's complex everywhere, and I've seen people make that mistake, everywhere, like every little thing, like for example, I take his armor and I make everything really, really complex, and I dig into it with the lines really hard. It's gonna make things much more, hard to read, you know, because the idea is you want to easily tell what's going on first glance for the most part. Or by doing that, you can add more dark. So for example, I'm gonna add like a bigger dark here under his armpit. I think that'd be pretty good. It kind of gives it kind of contrasts really good with the back, the mountains in the back. And so you're constantly playing this balancing act. For the most part, you're balancing this all out. Anyways, I'll probably go into that in another one, in another live, but for this one, I think I'm going to call it because it's the 20-minute mark. I'm going to do it for 20 minutes. I was going to do 30 minutes, but I think 20 minutes is fine. Remember, come back every day, 6 p.m. not Eastern. Is it? Yeah, 6 p.m. Western Pacific time. I'm gonna be working on it. You know, probably I might do one more session on this, but maybe not the next session. But I'm gonna work on another one, and I'll go back to this one and work on it just for the live. Anyways, that's it. Don't forget, hit the subscribe, click the bell notification. I'm posting live all the time here, and I will talk to you next time. All right. See you later.